A major disaster is approaching the Middle East, because China and Russia together have issued a stern warning to America today. Stop this war on Iran immediately, or get ready for a fully nuclear Middle East. Iran said that it has caught America and Israel in a completely unexpected trap, while Pakistan came out to the world to say that it reserves the right to respond according to the joint defense agreement it has with Saudi Arabia. What exactly is happening? This is what we will talk about today. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. Welcome to our new episode today, God willing, in this series of opinion episodes, which we always dedicate to keeping up with the latest developments in this war taking place in the Middle East. What is strange today, dear viewers, are these statements that came at the same time from China and Russia. Statements came from the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov and from the spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Mao Ning. What is strange about these statements is that they both talked about the issue of Iran possessing nuclear weapons. Both Russia and China agreed to raise this issue at the same time and at the same moment. This raises a big question today. For example, what did China say? It said that Iran is not developing nuclear weapons, and that it has confirmed this repeatedly. The US and Israel must stop the war now and return to the negotiating table as soon as possible. For the sake of what? And let's pay close attention. For the sake of what? What did it say? For the sake of maintaining the international nuclear non-proliferation regime. In plain terms, China said stop this war immediately, before Iran makes the decision to produce nuclear weapons. Today as well, China sent a strong message to Israel, telling it that it stands against this Israeli attack on Iran, and perhaps this is an initial warning to stop this war. Perhaps in the coming days and in the coming hours, there will be major Chinese steps ahead. Almost the same statement came from Russia, and even more than that, it was clearer than the Chinese statement, because the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov demanded that America stop the war. He said that the global nuclear threat is intensifying because of this conflict in the Middle East. He said that American aggression against Iran would encourage Iran to develop and produce nuclear weapons. What's strange today is that Russia and China are making these statements together. Why exactly now? Can this be considered signals they've received from Iran that because of this American-Israeli aggression, Iran will start developing nuclear weapons? And what if Iran actually already has this weapon ready and will use this war to officially announce it? These Russian and Chinese warnings have multiple dimensions. First of all, they hold America responsible today for any upcoming Iranian nuclear shift, and this is what's dangerous today. It's as if they're telling America explicitly that America will be the reason if Iran manages to acquire nuclear weapons. In fact, according to these statements, America will also be the reason why a number of other countries in the region acquire nuclear weapons. Because of course, at that point it won't stop with Iran. If Iran acquires nuclear weapons, other countries like Saudi Arabia and Turkey and maybe even Egypt will also start developing nuclear weapons. With the excuse that Iran has this weapon, and recently the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan openly admitted this. He stated clearly that if Iran acquires nuclear weapons, we will be forced to acquire this weapon as well. So Russia and China are warning the world, not just America. They are warning the world that if this war does not stop now, things will develop in a troubling way. Iran will acquire nuclear weapons, and other countries will also start developing nuclear weapons. It's a warning. And as all reports indicate, the amount of uranium enrichment Iran needs to reach the level of nuclear weapons will only take them about a week. At that point, we will witness the spread of nuclear weapons in a number of other countries. And here, Everyone should pay attention that Russia and China, even though they are allies of Iran, do not want this scenario to happen. They reject the scenario of Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. Why? Because, as I said, they know that if Iran acquires nuclear weapons, other Islamic countries will also obtain this weapon. That means it will no longer be exclusive to them and to a handful of countries as it is today. And as a result, the countries of the Islamic world will become equal with them. They will have a deterrent weapon just like them. And of course, they don't want that. Today, they are warning America and holding America responsible, saying that if this war against Iran continues, Iran will make that decision. Possessing nuclear weapons. But the question that arises today, which of course we don't have an answer to yet, is why did these statements come at this exact time? And why did they come simultaneously? I mean, between China and Russia together? Is it because Iran informed them, or at least maybe sent them signals that it will now start producing nuclear missiles, or what? If that's the case, this will lead us to other very significant changes. I mean, in a way that maybe we'll review, maybe the scenario of demise that is approaching quickly today. So this war is not an ordinary war at all. I've said it before and I repeat it today. In 2020, I said that the world after the coronavirus pandemic is not the same as before. And I said at the beginning of the October war that the world after the Gaza war is not the same as before. This war, today as well. I say that the war on Iran will also end with great and major transformations in the region and in the world. All these three events are originally connected to each other. Today the world is witnessing major transformations since 2020, and we are living through these changes, which may continue until 2030 or even beyond. Anyone who is waiting for the fall of the Iranian regime today is definitely delusional. Anyone who expects Iran to surrender, like Venezuela did, is also delusional. Iranians do not surrender. Iranians are ready to fight until the last breath. The Iranian system is very complex and very different from other systems in the world, which have originally been easy to penetrate in all countries, especially in the Arab countries. Today, for example, when we talk about Iran, we are talking about a country that has two armies, the Iranian Armed Forces and the Revolutionary Guard, and the two are different. Everyone knows this. Pay close attention. We are talking about a 1 million-strong army. We are talking about around 1 million soldiers in the Iranian Armed Forces alone, and more than 500,000 soldiers in the ranks of the Revolutionary Guard. Today, America is unable to send ground forces into Iranian territory to overthrow this Iranian regime. Why? Because they know very well that it would be a graveyard for all of them. So, what is Trump doing today? He is just waiting for the Iranian people to take to the streets so he can play that role, overthrowing the regime. He thinks it's easy, that what happened in Libya, for example, can be repeated. The Revolutionary Guard has a strong, unwavering ideology that is directly linked to the supreme leader. This is a fact that everyone should know about this army. The Revolutionary Guard has only one mission, to protect the revolution, which means protecting the regime. No matter what scenarios happen, this army will not surrender. Even if all they have left is a Kalashnikov, they will not lay down their arms. At that point, they will turn to resistance tactics, and we will witness total destruction in the region. That's why the Iranian regime will not collapse unless the entire region is destroyed. If the Iranians find that the regime is collapsing and living its final hours, they might then turn to two dangerous possibilities. Either they will surprise the world by revealing they possess nuclear weapons, or they will strike Israeli nuclear facilities. Meaning they will press the final button through which they will end the Israeli presence in the region. Because at that point they won't think and they won't consider the humanitarian aspect, the international order or international laws. At that moment they will be in the midst of collapse, in their final hour before the collapse. Today, Ali Larijani, the Secretary General of the Iranian National Security Council, said that Iran is ready to defend itself in this war with a long-term war. And it's really noticeable that Iran has prepared well for this scenario. Iran benefited from the previous experience in the 12-day war, which was the last war, and it knew that the end of the war at that time was just a truce. We talked about it in previous episodes. Iran knew that the war would return again. So what did it do? It prepared well for this day on all levels. And even today, a major surprise was revealed. Today, the Iranian army revealed that all Iranian missile centers had been evacuated in advance before the start of this war, and that today's aggression, whether by Israel or the United States, is only targeting centers that are empty of any ammunition or military equipment. This means that throughout the previous days, they were destroying empty headquarters and warehouses. In fact, it was truly a trap that Trump fell into. A prearranged plan, well prepared, just to drain the American and Israeli missile and offensive capabilities. Today, Iran said that it destroyed a THAAD air defense system that was at Al Ruwais base in the UAE. This is a major disaster for America and Israel. We're talking about the collapse of the primary defense system, meaning the main and first air defense system that intercepts Iranian ballistic missiles. This means that a new shift will begin starting today, and we might see something else in the next few hours. Pay close attention, today is the fourth day of this war. Today, the first deadline set by Trump initially as the goal to topple the Iranian regime ends, and it hasn't fallen yet. Regarding this regime, he spoke later when he received information confirming the impossibility of this regime's collapse. In 4 days, he talked about a 1-week deadline after that, and just yesterday he talked about 4 or 5 weeks. But in reality, a major war of attrition that America got involved in, because Iran is now following a tactic that seems very successful so far, a tactic that is draining Israel and America today. The American Site 45 said that America in the past 3 hours has used up 400 Tomahawk cruise missiles. 400 Tomahawk cruise missiles in just 3 days. He said that for America to produce this amount, it would need 5 years. What does this mean? What does it imply? That it has exhausted 5 years worth of production? In just 3 days from the start of this war. So what if we talk about a week or 5 weeks, as Trump said? And that's without even mentioning the defensive missiles, THAAD or others. The truth is, the conflict is still just beginning for Iran today. It is also noticeable that there are very malicious Israeli intentions to involve and drag the Gulf countries into this war, so that Israel can then withdraw from the war and leave Iran and the Arab countries to destroy each other. It's truly a malicious plan because there have been attacks today and also yesterday on civilian or economic facilities like ports and others in Saudi Arabia and in the Sultanate of Oman. Iran has completely denied being the one who bombed these facilities, which means that someone else carried out these attacks, so that these countries are dragged into this war. And as a result, Israel remains just watching, meaning in the position of an observer while the Islamic countries destroy each other. Then, of course, their plan for expansion and forming the map of Greater Israel begins. And we've talked about this in a number of episodes. Even today, Pakistan has entered this conflict. Pakistan sent a message to Iran telling them that it has a joint defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. It's like a reminder, reminding them of that, as if saying that we will enter the war if you cross the line against Saudi Arabia. The situation is very dangerous. The situation is complicated in the Middle East. Israel wants to push other countries and organizations to wage a ground war on its behalf. And let's not forget today, for example, Iranian Kurdish opposition armed groups have been pushed to storm Iranian territory and thus carry out sabotage operations inside Iran. There is a danger of pushing the Kurds against Iran. But Iran said it successfully repelled this attempt. The important thing is that the war is far from over, the war is developing very quickly, and Iran is still standing firm, and there are many surprises to come. Remember to subscribe and like. Peace be upon you, and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.